So Alan Sugar's getting mad on Twitter about people who work from home. He thinks they're all lazy entitled gits who spend their entire time watching TV, that they don't do any actual work, and things were better back in his day where, your mum and dad, they never worked from home. We all need to go back to the office because that's just better and how everything used to be, right? Now, I'm going to just preface this segment by saying that I'm not calling him Lord Sugar. Lord Sugar is the name for pimp. I'm not going to do that. His name's Alan Sugar. I'm just going to call him Alan Sugar, okay? A lot of this was triggered by a Good Morning Britain segment that he was commenting on, where they said that, well, if people are going to be working from home and using their own electricity to do the job that they're getting paid to do, and the electricity bills are going up, surely they should get some more remuneration from their job for the electricity that they're using to essentially make sure that their company functions whilst they work from home. Mr. Sugar responds by saying, well, hang on a minute, we never paid for people's commuting when they were working in the office. Why should we pay for their electricity? Well, first of all, they probably should have got some remuneration from their commuting. The amount of people's free time that gets taken away with the amount of time they spend in traffic, spend on public transport. Like, you add an extra hour and a half sometimes onto people's actual work day, considering how long they spend commuting. So, that's just a problem with the system as it was previously rather than the system that they have now. And second of all, the amount that you spend on electricity powering whatever kind of new computer or particular piece of equipment that you need to work from home, probably significantly more than what you were previously spending on commuting, especially considering the massive increase in people's energy bills because of the price cap. Also, his kind of assertion that somehow people are less productive when they're working from home because they might be, watching TV or masturbating, I don't give a shit what, that he seems to claim that would be the case which would make them less productive. That's just fundamentally not the case, right? We have studies showing that people are more productive when they're working from home. Productivity has gone up for people who've moved from the office to working from home. All the empirical data that we have currently shows us this. Now, Alan Sugar even shows a segment from GB News where they're discussing a study that shows people are more productive when working from home. Yet the clip that he's chosen is some woman saying that she's got some kind of theory as to why people are less productive working from home, even though the evidence that she's citing says the complete opposite. Right? I'll play that segment in a second. But it's just staggering that these people just put feelings above facts. They think the people should be less productive working from home. So even though the evidence says that that's not the case, they just refuse to believe it.
Well, I think we're getting a new class divide in this country between the laptop classes who can sit at home and put the wash on and get the dinner ready, be there when the kids come home from school, and people who actually have to go out to work to earn a living, the postmen, the fish and chip shop owners who we've been talking about already on the show this evening. And I do think that fuels resentment, and I do think Peter's absolutely right. There is a productivity crisis, and you were saying earlier, Michelle, about the importance of businesses maintaining profitability, and I think that's far harder to do when you've got your workforce sat in the bedroom, sat at the kitchen table, and I think being in the office really helps create that productive environment. It keeps people focused on the job.
See what I mean? It's all just feelings. There's no actual appeal to any kind of reason or understanding of empiricism. It's just, I feel like it should be this way, so that's what I'm going to believe that is this way, right? It's also kind of typical of the mainstream media, where you've got a piece of empirical evidence, and they can't just have somebody come on TV and say, that's right. It has to be a debate where, on the other side, you have to have somebody who reckons that they disagree and they reckon that it's wrong for some fucking unknown reason, despite the fact, they have no evidence backing up any of their claims. But there has to be this kind of false sense of balance by having some crackpot on to give the counter-narrative to what the actual data shows. Pointing out in this segment that she claims that, well, another issue is that people who can't work from home, it will breed resentment. So what? We're supposed to make people who can work from home, who will be more productive working from home, make them not work from home because people who can't work from home might feel bad? There's just no utility to doing this, right? Like, all you're doing is reducing the number of people who are happy rather than making everybody happy. That's just fucking pointless. Is this a stealth reason why Alan Sugar is so upset at all of these people working from home and the transition in general to working from home? Now, we all know Alan Sugar as the person who set up Amstrad, the guy from The Apprentice, the shouty man, right? But where he actually makes most of his money, where he made most of his millions, or billions, I guess at this point really, is from his commercial property portfolio, right? He has a company called Amsprop, short for Amstrad Property essentially, which is a subsidiary of Amstrad Holdings, which actually has within its portfolio huge amounts of office space that he's made huge amounts of money renting these out to businesses to use, for offices. So if people go to work from home, suddenly people won't need the commercial property that he spent so much of his money investing in. Since the start of the pandemic, the property portfolio of Amsprop has dropped by £1.1 million. So it wasn't about productivity, it wasn't about the workplace environment, it wasn't about any of that. All it was about him protecting his bottom line, that's it. Please, sir, my commercial property portfolio investments, they are very sick. It really just speaks to just how entitled landlords are, both commercial and residential, right? They tell us the reason why they should make huge amounts of money, essentially sitting on their ass doing nothing. Funnily enough, what Alan Sugar seems to claim everybody else is doing, but that's what landlords do. They make money owning stuff and being completely unproductive in their actual existence, right? They claim the reason why they should justify that is because they take on the risk by making those investments, right? There's risk involved, therefore they should be able to make the money when their investments come good. But then suddenly, as soon as their investments stop coming good, right? As soon as their investments actually start losing the money, suddenly they cry foul, like, oh no, but what about my investments? I'm sorry, mate, is it risk or not? Suddenly you're getting slapped by the backhand, by the invisible hand of the free market, and now suddenly you're expecting other people to come step in and pick up the mess that you've made for yourself. Like, no, I'm sorry, mate, tough shit. Because residential landlords do exactly the same thing. They say, oh, you can't influence rent caps, or you can't have new eviction moratoriums, or you can't do this, you can't do that, because I will lose money on my investment. I'm like, no, people's well-being are above your desire to make profit. Like, you've made loads of money, you getting rentier income out of this asset that you hold. Right? You've made all that money. You still have the asset at the end of the day. I'm sorry, it reeks so heavily of entitlement that they believe that not only should they have ever-increasing property values, they should also just have a continuous growth in returns of the rentier income off the back of it. I fucking hate these people. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider liking and subscribing. If you click the bell, it will let you know when I go live in future. I am currently on holiday, so I can't do any live streams, but I will try and upload content, upload TikToks when I can. You can now become a member on YouTube. It's only 99p and gets you involved, gets you access to emotes, that I have on my channel for you to be able to use in live chat, and also means that you can be a commendable non-freeloader whilst enjoying my content. Anyway, thank you very much for that one. If you want to watch any more of my videos, you click my little face down there and it'll take you to my page. Thank you for watching if you got this far, and I'll see you on the next one.